Welcome to Cardano Over Coffee. Please remember to join us Monday through Friday live on Twitter Spaces at 2:30 p.m. UTC, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Flawed joins us today to talk about his card game Psychhoz that he's building on the Cardano blockchain. Don't forget, we'll be in Denver, Colorado, August 24th through the 26th at Rare Evo. Get your tickets now at rareevo.io. Yes, crypto is accepted. Use discount code COC10 for 10% off. Got your coffee? Let's jump right in. Anyways, our next guest has been around. I remember his first Twitter space. His first Twitter space was quite a while ago at this point. We've broken a lot of people's Twitter spaces, you know what. So welcome to the stage, Flawed. He's going to talk for the next half hour. You will not get a word in, so don't even try.
No, man. Good morning, everyone. I left myself a note to keep it short, so I'm gonna try to work with that.
Oh, I love that intro.
Answer questions. So, how's everyone doing this morning?
Good, Flawed. How are you, brother?
Oh, doing great, man. Doing great. Just been working. That's I think what everyone should be doing right now instead of paying attention to the drama in the market and shit. Just build whatever you can. And I know Epoch's not a fan of that term, but building does come in many different forms. Sometimes it's artistically, sometimes it's community, sometimes most of the time it is developmentally, and we do have devs, involved with what we're doing and so on. But I'll get into all that. So I'm Flawed One. For anyone that doesn't know me already, I talk a lot, so you probably heard me in spaces at some point. I'm launching my project Psychhoz. We started off in October 2021 with our first launch under the name Killers. We found some branding issues and we went back, reworked the whole thing, reworked the entire project from the ground up, all the art, all the underlined infrastructure, and all the planning involved in that to make sure we were staying in our legal spot and everything. The other project that I ran across actually never really turned into anything, but it doesn't matter. They were using the name first, so we got deep into the research and made sure that we were cool going this direction. At this point, we've researched every game, board game, card game, video game on Earth that has anything to do with serial killers. We go pretty deep into all of our research. Just yesterday, I'll give you a quick example. I ran across a couple characters that I had named, and I didn't like that I had named them. I never really intended on naming pedestrian or law characters for the anonymity aspect. But then we went and deeply dove through each one of the killers that we featured so far to make sure that these names didn't match any of the victims, and we found that they did. So we renamed those characters with names that we have verified have not had anything to do with these crimes, because, they are crimes. They are. I'm not here to glorify any of these men. I'm here to shed light on the mental health issues that drive people to do crazy shit. I'm trying to be really, really conscious of triggers because a lot of people have suffered from things like this and from heinous crimes in this world. And the idea isn't that I've got the answers. I don't have the answers, man. I just want to start the conversation and see if it can go somewhere positive, if we can maybe figure out some of these telltale signs and notice some of these mental health kind of warning signs along the way before bad things happen. Whether that'll happen or not, that's up to society and how much they're actually paying attention. I feel like this subject being dark and so much pain involved in it, people tend to just try to turn away from it rather than look at it to understand it. They'll turn away from it and try to pretend it doesn't happen, but that's not going to stop any bad shit from happening long term. So I'm hoping that through a fun game and some interesting engagement, some facts tied into it, some fiction, that will be able to kind of make people a little more comfortable with the discussion that's behind all of this. And
I know you've been talking for 5 minutes, so I'm going to stop.
I was done right there anyway.
I know you were. But you said about the dark side, right? But there's a good side to the game also. I mean, you don't only have the psychos or the killers, you have heroes involved in the game, right? And, you touched on a lot of stuff that's close to me. My brother was murdered. He was cold-bloodedly murdered, right, by somebody who had mental health issues. So if you can educate one person through this game that stops something like that, I'm fine with it. Because I've been through that pain. I understand what that's like.
Yeah, I know you have, brother. It's rough too.
But on to the bigger, better things. I have the old style, and the new style is definitely a lot nicer. Was there something I was supposed to do to maybe get something? Or
No, you will get it. It'll be airdropped to you. All of the holders of the original Killers cards will receive new cards. We're sorting all of that out right now and working that policy ID in with our new policy ID and everything, so we make sure we don't miss anyone. But we're actually running votes right now in our community. And Hero, I know you hate Discord, so I'll take your votes on Twitter if you want. I do run the polls on Twitter as well as Discord. Usually the ones I'm about to mention, though, normally are just on Discord. So I'll just like DM them to you or something, because I know you're Discord.
No. If you do it on Discord, I could probably. I don't know that I'll vote on everything, but once in a while I'll pop in and vote.
Well, we're really big on the idea.
Collective Discord. We need like a collective Discord for this kind of stuff, so we can all like go in and vote. I don't know. I'm in the same predicament.
I'm on Tomacat's Cardano Art Collective Discord as well, and I believe my tweets and posts from my Discord pop up over there on my channel. So that would be another hub that you can pop in, a community hub you can pop in and check us out. But it's really important to us to involve the community, especially at this really early stage in some of the direction. Like, I'm not a fool. I can't just go, oh, hey, you guys tell me how to build a video game, because it'll end up all jacked up and it won't work. But we can give them 3 or 4 of our top choices and say, okay, which one, resonates with you best. And where some of these packaging and the way we're bundling things together and rewards and stuff, we really want the input from the community, not because we don't have some idea which direction we want to take it. We just want to know what they prefer, so that we're giving them kind of the best value point we can for what we're, able to offer at that stage, because it will evolve over time. And I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of what we're planning on in the future and all that shit, because we're not there yet. We're building very, very quickly. We've actually already got a working prototype game using third-party software. So over the first 3 weekends that we did testing with that, we got a lot of feedback from the community. Plus, I made a lot of observations on game mechanics and things that, work just fine in my mind. But once they're laying on the table, things just don't work the same. And, it's just like anything. It's great on paper. It's, what's it actually come down to in application or practical use?
Talk to us about the game. Talk to us about the game. Explain for those that don't know what the actual game is that you're building.
Perfect. So, it's Psychoz CCG. It's a collectible card game. I could have went with trading card game, went with collectible, because I really want to push that focus. We are in an NFT space, and I'm coming out with different types of packs to appeal to different types of collectors. Some people just want to play the game. They'll be able to get a play pack. So basically, the game is made up of 3 factions. It's a player versus player environment. One-on-one for now, at least. Do have plans to try to expand that to team battles and so on later on. You can choose, as of now, from one of 3 decks in our prototype that are pre-constructed. That way you don't have to own all the cards in the deck. You just have to own any one of these collector's edition cards, and that allows you access to come in and test and play games with me on weekends and stuff and help us kind of form this. But you can choose between pedestrian, the law faction, and killers, and they kind of step up in difficulty. Pedestrian, I intentionally kept kind of basic in the mechanics, but big and strong. So think of them kind of as brutes. The law faction are a little bit more technical, a little bit more involved, still real broody. They have a lot of big groups that can deal a lot of damage at once. And then the killers, which pretty much work by themselves, but they're the most complex. So did that intentionally, knowing that in this space, we're going to be teaching a lot of people how to play a card game for the first time, since a lot of NFT collectors aren't necessarily gamers. And out of the gamers that are here, very few are strategic card gamers, which is kind of a different genre to itself. So there's a lot of education involved. And to that end, we're already working on some cool tooling that's used in the legacy business world for educating and rewarding, that we've managed to link through our Discord to our website. You can, and this isn't live yet. We're testing it still and building out the rest of the content. But go in, watch several videos, and after each video, you'll get a quick examination or assessment of whether or not you were paying attention, which will give you a score. And by the time you get to the end of the 3 or 4 videos in this tutorial, your total score will end up telling us what reward to give you for it. So we're going to reward people for coming in and learning how to play the game as well, which starting out, everyone will. So there'll be some free assets out there available for people to earn and get into the game that way. Now, while we're in this prototype state, you don't have to own all your own cards. But once we transition, probably the alpha stage will be that way too. But once we transition from our alpha testing to our beta testing, at that point, it'll be card for card. So your collection will be directly represented by what you have in your wallet. Up until then, you can play and enjoy the game in whatever forms we have it available between now and then. As much as you'd like to, or as much as it's available, without having to actually own all of the cards to do so. And that was pretty important too, because, card collection takes a while to build up.
Are the cards available now? When are they available? Where can I get them? Well, tell me about that.
We've launched 4 limited edition drops so far. It was started off with Jack the Ripper, of course, the most legendary psycho of all of them because he never got caught. Then Charles Manson, then Jeffrey Dahmer, and the last one was John Wayne Gacy, which is probably my favorite artistically speaking. The dude's the art came out great and twisted. And I'll pin some stuff to the top in a moment. But they're available so far. Right now, we're working on our packs collection and how that's going to break down, getting all of our metadata sorted out and figuring out what our total numbers are going to be like, because we're not building an NFT project. We're building a video game that's based in NFT assets to start, and it will always have NFT assets, but it won't be the only path into it later on. So they'll be able to come in through Web 2 through a subscription base and play that way, and then in theory earn some NFTs that will hopefully bring them into the ecosystem. Not just Cardano though. I'm starting in Cardano, but we're already looking at probably 5 other blockchains that we plan on expanding to. And as soon as we're able to hit our milestones and be able to afford to make these moves and the marketing that goes with it, we'll start expanding to these other blockchains. I'm setting up the networks now in order to do that, and looking at several different ecosystems that are pretty friendly and actually trying to pull us into their ecosystem right now with what we're doing.
Don't forget us little guys when you become famous.
Oh, I'll remember the first space I spoke in, brother. You uncorked the bottle. That's on you.
I blame myself.
I got my John Wayne card. I missed out on the other ones, unfortunately. When's the next drop?
That will be coming up next week sometime. That'll be announced soon. And the next drop, partially in honor of Women's History Month and partially in honor of the fact that we have not had a female serial killer up yet, I put 2 of them in the voting this time, and Susan Atkins, one of the Manson family members, actually won this time. So you'll have a crazy lady coming at you next time.
Great.
Those limited drops are limited to just 50.
Crazy woman in my life.
I'm sorry, Hero. That was my bad.
I was just making a joke, man. I said I need another crazy woman in my life. Crypto College, you have your hand up?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So I know you're probably, with being experienced in a lot of card games, you're probably making it really unique. But what would you say it's most similar to? Like, if you're a player of this card game, you'll do very well,
Yeah, I intentionally modeled certain aspects after Magic the Gathering, having the information that is the single largest collectible card game that's ever existed. It's I think they're pushing 2 billion assets globally, and that's their physical assets. They're not even talking about their digital shit there. So yeah, it just made sense to make it intuitive to Magic players. So it'll seem familiar, but it's not at all the same. Things work differently. Things look differently. Even some of the mechanics that are similar to Magic, I go about it differently because I was intentionally not trying to bite on someone else's IP. Although doing a lot of the deep research that I've done, Magic did hold a lot of patents on card games. And it's extremely hard actually to get a patent on any what they consider abstract concept, which all of these games, board games, card games, they all fall into that. Unless you're doing something extremely proprietary, it's very hard to patent anything. So Magic had patents on certain aspects of their game, which they dropped in 2018. They defended the first time in 2003 against Pokemon and won heavily. I remember when that happened, it was a huge deal in the, the whole Magic circles and everything. At that time, I was a semi-pro player, so very involved and very interested in how that court case turned out. Then they defended 2 more times. One, they settled out of court, and the next one against a small potatoes guy like myself, they lost their ass. They were just basically told, look, you got nothing to defend here. And the reason that is because the precedents have been kind of evolving over the last 10 to 15 years. And now it's to a point to where the Federal Patent Office is extremely reluctant to patent a game of any type. There's only 3 or 4 that are actually patented, like Monopoly and Chutes and Ladder and Magic the Gathering, most of which have quit trying to defend their patents because it becomes a legal mess that is just way too expensive at the end of the day. They never get the money back out of it that they're suing the people for, with the exception of course, the Pokemon thing, because Pokemon was a corporate giant to begin with, so they had deep pockets. Other than that, they spend 10 times as much as what they actually get, and it's more a matter of principle than anything. So they just quit defending it in 2018 and let them all drop. So I'm not concerned with their patents now, but I did intentionally go around the mechanics that they had patented to make sure that I'm not later on going to be caught up in anything legally. That's a lot of all of this is just preparing for the future and kind of future proofing your things. And I know that's a hype term right now, but it's a good concept to go with. You always try to do your best to avoid problems. And that's kind of what I see future proofing as in a lot of ways where a game's concerned, is try to avoid it before it happens.
Visualize the game for me. Make me see the game in my mind's eye.
Okay, so Saturday you could come in and play some with me if you want. But so it's a tabletop, and it's broken into several different zones. You've got a battle zone, a ready zone, a currency zone, and a parole zone. And then outside of the game field, you have your decks and what's called death row. Nothing in this game actually dies. When it leaves play, it just goes to jail. And later on, there will be cards that are able to pull them back out and put them into play. But you'd be sitting across the tabletop from your opponent. So you can see all your cards on the table, all their cards on the table. You cannot see what's in their hand, of course. You can opt to, and I have done this while teaching people, to play face up. So basically lay your cards down on the table and let your opponent see it for the ease of explaining things. And I'll do that a little bit moving forward when people are struggling. But for the most part, the hand's hidden. You start off with it. Right now it says 25 life, but I'm adjusting that because the games take too long. You start off with 15 life. And there's 2 ways that you can lose the game. You can either run out of life, which resets the game, or you can run out of cards. So most of the prefabricated decks are really close to the same size. You have to have at least 50 cards in the deck to make it work. But right now, I think the decks are a little bit closer to 60, like 55 to 57 cards, something like that. So they're real close. So there's no mechanic in the game right now that'll allow me to burn through your library real quick and speed that up, but that will come later on. So that way of losing will become more of an issue later on. But at this point, I'm trying to keep the game and the game mechanics as simple as possible, knowing that a lot of the players are going to be brand new to this type of game. I hope that answered.
Yep. Tell me about the team working on it. You said you and you have people. Who's the people's and what's theirs job?
Okay, so yeah, when I started rebranding and well, before I rebranded, actually, when I started redesigning the cards and redoing the artwork on them, I showed them to Hyper Todd. I don't know if you guys know Hyper Todd or not from the space, but he's been around for quite some time. Since 1996, he's been doing high-end post-production on movies, film and documentaries, 3D modeling and animation of every single type you can imagine, including video games, commercials, cartoons, like you name it. If it's media content creation, he runs a boutique media content creation business that's been pretty successful since the 90s. he's just super intrigued by this space. So he's literally like not doing his job all day long to work on my project for free right now and paying other people to do his job while he's working on mine, or working on this. And it's not mine. We are forming a partnership to get it quickly into the business end of things, because I know you asked about the LLC and stuff with the last guest. Presently, we're operating under my LLC, Flawed One Art, but we are going to be transferring that to an LLC under Psychoz and registering that in Wyoming. And then for all of our IP, we'll be registering our IP subsidiary LLC out of Vegas, because that's very favorable tax-wise. We've done a lot of research into this, and that's what Todd brings to the table. So going back to him, he's an extremely high-end 3D modeler, probably one of the best in this space, arguably at least, but extremely skilled in a lot of different ways as far as content creation goes. He's a musician, a heavy metal musician. I know Block Jock's going to dig that. Has a band actually that's got a Cardano launch coming up, I think, called Brown Flower. Really cool. He actually made a small video game that's the music video to one of that band's songs. And when you play through this little video game, you get the song at the end of it. It's cool shit. And he just did that because he was bored. But yeah, so Todd brings a lot of different aspects to the table, not the least of his vast knowledge of corporate business and how things work, the legalities involved with IP and copywriting and patenting things. But he's also about 3/4 of a qualified dev. I mean, he can write scripts in probably 5 or 6 different languages and can get into just about any language other than Plutus or Haskell, with just a little bit of studying and tweaking his approach to it and so on, because he's got a good technical mind too. So we're able to carry a lot of the technical stuff we need up to a certain degree. And we've worked together on other projects as well and stuff. When we put metadata sheets together and stuff like that, they tend to be really fleshed out, really detailed, good rarity scales and all this stuff, just hyper organized for when most people would approach their mentors. By the time we go to our mentors and actually sit down to have the conversation, we have all that already done. And then it's just a matter of kind of figuring out now, how do we work with your system to make things work from here, which is the stage we're at now, and why I don't want to announce a date on the packs that are coming or anything just yet is because we're not sure what.
Whatever, man. Keep the secret to yourself then.
Dude, you know me well enough to know I'm not big on secrets. It's hard for me to not say all the shit bouncing around in my head.
Oh, I know. I'll get it out of you. I'll just keep asking.
So many games are coming up. Like, I'm so excited, Flawed. And I know that you might be coming to Rare Evo with the caravan, but you do know that this year is going to be very heavily, steered into gaming and multi-chain, kind of like, cross-chain. So it sounds like if you get a chance to expose this to other audiences, it would be awesome to see you representing there.
Yeah, I'm totally going to try to, Jenny. I want to go to Rare Bloom and CNFT Con this year. CNFT Con, I'm sure that I'm going to go to, like, positive of that. With them being a month apart this time, it makes it a little over a month, I think, actually. Makes it a little trickier to kind of plan like we did last year where we went to both, because 2 weeks was a hella long time to be on the road, locked in a rolling box with the likes of Shaw Dog and Drew Aces and Willie Boy. It was crazy. No, it was a lot of fun. It was a blast. But by the end of that 2 weeks, we were all just ready to go home and sleep in our own bed. It was a lot of work involved to make it all happen, and stress too. So I'm not positive. I'm going to try to make Rare Evo as well, because I do realize it's gaming centric and cross chain, which both directly apply to what I'm trying to do.
Instead of shouting in the same territory that you're shouting in right now, nothing against CNFT Con, but the cross-chain gaming, you as a business need to focus on that. Well, Flawed can focus on going to CNFT Con.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. You can do the caravan to CNFT Con and then just fly to Rare and just
that's what I'm thinking.
Do the Rare thing. You know what I mean? Because it will be amazing. I mean, I can tell you from being there last year, it's just it was great, and I think that this year is just going to be even greater.
Yeah, plus I get to see the Cardano over coffee crew like live again. That was probably my highlight of the whole trip, honestly, was waking up to Hero going, oh shit, Flawed's up now, or something like that. Or Flawed finally rolled out of bed or something like that. And then I walk around the corner and there's Block Jock and everybody else. The whole fucking crew's just kind of sitting around 15 to 20 feet apart, everybody talking. I was like, man, this is awesome. Because I'd been living that morning over and over again for, 16 months or whatever at that point.
It was fun getting to meet you actually in person and us getting to talk for a little bit. And it's like we know each other already, and there's the conversation. We just fall into the conversation very easily. But at the same time, IRL is just the way to go. So, yeah, I was stoked.
And yes, he talks just as much in real life as he does on Twitter Spaces, my friends.
It's true. It's true.
I kept telling people, like, the thing I looked forward to most about those cons was that people actually got confirmation I am exactly who the hell I put myself out here to be, like, to the letter. So that was one of the high points, was over and over again. I got told that, like, man, you are exactly like you are on Twitter, aren't you? And I'm like, I fucking told you so. And everyone thought I was going to be like Hero's size. Everyone thought I was going to be a big dude. So they kept looking over my head when I'd say, oh, hi, I'm Flawed. And they'd recognize the voice and they'd look up like, I thought you were going to be bigger.
I got to look down at you. Anything you want to finish up with, Flawed, before we get to it?
Just real quickly on the kind of reaching new markets and stuff. So we are already on, of course, Twitter, Discord, Facebook, Instagram. We have set up YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and we will start streaming before long. I'm just kind of waiting until we get a little deeper into the game and things get kind of sorted out before I start putting all those videos together. And we're already looking into some other different types of social media outlets. Like somebody turned me on to this DSoFi just 2 days ago, and we're already registered with them and a couple other kind of spin-off groups there. Which we still have to start building up the content there and so on. There's a lot of work to be done. There are only two of us on the team right now, and we're keeping it that way intentionally because we're both willing to work for nothing while we put this all together and scrimp and scrape by on ramen noodle and such, so we can actually build this game where if we bring anyone else in right now, they're definitely going to want a paycheck or some kind of percentage. And right now it's not a comfortable place to be doing that. Plus we don't have the infrastructure set up to kind of facilitate further team members, and that's an important part of it. You have to be able to work them into your workflow in a way that's comfortable and doesn't cause problems.
We'll work for delegation.
Yeah, I'm already shifting some delegation over there, bro.
I'm joking.
I gotta move mine around a little bit because I've got, I think, three wallets sitting with Weedpool now, and I'm like, damn it, man! I always swore I'd never leave all my wallets in one place like that. So I'm gonna start kind of spreading them around a little bit.
Check out Epoch Pool. He needs some loving. He's a good guy. So thanks for coming. When the packs are for sale, you should stop back and maybe give us a 5-minute update. I may take you up on Plan sometime here soon because I'd like to check it out. I don't have a crap ton of time, but I would definitely like to check it out sometime.
Yeah, man, just hit me up. You're a holder of the original cards, so you're eligible for testing and all of this. The original cards get all the same benefits that the limited edition cards get, and you will receive new cards. It won't be card for card because the way we bundled things in the last set won't work out the same here. So it'll work out where you get airdropped a certain number of packs, and then you just get to open the packs and go through that whole experience. So it should be cool, though, and it'll definitely be with the new art. And those old cards, so Hero, hold on to them, because not only will they be playable in the game, as ugly as they are intentionally, they'll be playable for that OG flex and status, because there's so few of those actually out there. And by the time this game blows up, that if it blows up, those cards will be extremely, extremely rare. But I also have some plans that I'm not going to get into for future benefits to give to those holders, because that's what got me started. It didn't make me any money. All of, killers, it didn't even pay for the website that I ran the whole time. So like there was no profit there to be had. But I still want to deliver value to those original holders because, like yourself, though, they were people that were like, man, this is cool. This is different. It's unique. I'll grab some and just see where it goes. And I want them to see that it's going somewhere good.
Listen, and every woman in the world wants to play it because we all know women love serial killers for some odd reason. My mother would play this game because she like watches A&E or whatever, like serial killer. I'm like, why are you watching this shit?
That's so funny you say that. I saw this like skit the other day. It was like about like women love to watch this shows where they talk about serial killers, like and they get relaxed over that. That's not me, dude. But I don't know what the heck. I guess it is a thing.
It
My
goes way beyond
ex-fiance
that.
was the same way too.
A lot of these serial killers actually had like pen pal wives and stuff. A lot of them had like hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of women writing to them while they're in prison.
They do. Crazy. They get married.
But you're right. 85% of all true crime literature is bought by middle-aged women. So I know exactly where my target is between the age of 30 and 48 and female. And that is a good target for me to be in. I'm comfortable in that age group and bracket.
The compassion, where do you think it comes from? It's so strange.
I don't really know. I don't. I've been trying to wrap my mind around that.
Fascination of the unknown. Women want to understand why that serial killer is that way.
They think they can help them. That's what it is. It's a nurture thing. It's like, oh, it needs. Yeah. I can help them. I can break them. I can take care of their problems, kind of thing. So.
Till you realize you ain't have no emotions.
I like watching that stuff too. I mean,
I think
it's really interesting. I mean, I don't have a pen pal yet, but I do watch it though.
There's 3 of my killers that are still alive, man. So you could reach out to one of them. They're still sitting in prison.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I want a pen pal yet.
He hasn't crossed that line yet. So, Flawed, thanks, my friend, for coming. I appreciate you. I hope to see you at Rare Evo. I think it would be a good business move. So,
thanks for listening to Cardano Over Coffee. We want to thank Flawed for coming to talk about his game Psychos, and we hope to see you in Denver, Colorado, August 24th through the 26th at Rare Evo. Get your tickets now at rareevo.io. Use coupon code COC10 for 10% off.